Outlaw Law is brought to you by Whitaker and Hamer, attorneys and counselors at law. Your law firm for life.
The Outlaw Lawyers, Josh Whitaker and Joe Hamer, your hosts, are the managing partners at Whitaker and Hamer Law Firm. And, of course, the firm is the power behind the program, and they are practicing attorneys here in North Carolina. Offices located Raleigh, Garner, Clayton, Goldsboro, Fuquay, Varina, Gastonia, and Morehead City. And joining us from the Morehead City office, also an attorney with Whitaker and Hamer, Cassandra Nicholas. She is a regular. She is part of that three-headed monster. We do it each and every week, and it's always legalese. I'm Morgan Patrick, consumer advocate, and kind of guide the show and keep it out of the ditches and have some fun with the guys, and of course Cassandra as well. A number to call if you've got a legal situation you're facing. We give you an opportunity for action. You can call the firm 800-659-1186. That's 800-659-1186. Get an answer to those legal questions you're facing, and an attorney, leave your contact information, briefly what the call's about, and an attorney with Whitaker and Hamer will be in touch. And as we are doing today, we are doing listener questions. You can email your questions to the show and we'll answer them on a future program. It's questions@theoutlawlawyer.com. Questions@theoutlawlawyer.com. Josh, where are we going next?
All right. We're going to lighten it up a bit. So we're going to go, we got someone hammering next door.
I love it, man. I like hearing that while we're doing this.
It's a lot of construction next door. All right, guys. So this is one we get a lot. Again, this is going to be a combination of a couple of different types of consults questions we get, but we're going to have, I'm going to give these people names, right? So we got Jack and we got Diane.
I laugh when you start talking about names.
We got Jack and we got Diane. All right. I'm not even going to do this as a listener question. I'm going to do this as like a straight up law school fact pattern. This is what law school tests are like. You just get
So let me make some. Jack, Diane, and is Mellencamp involved in any of this?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Not yet, but
that's their dog.
Just take your time.
All right. Jack is a 70-year-old man, right? Jack's a 70-year-old man. Diane is a 68-year-old woman. How does that sound?
Sounds pretty daggone good, man.
So far, so good.
Sounds like Jack was robbing the cradle.
Jack has 3 adult children, A, B, and C.
What?
That's their names. That's what he named them. All right. Diane has 3 adult children, D, E, F. All right. They get married today. They just got married.
So many
just
kids,
happened.
man.
Were they both divorced first? Just
yeah.
John and wife.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Jack
Calm down over there.
They are. Let's just say this: they are single. 70-year-old single Jack, 70-year-old single Diane. They have decided
they meet at the Beach Music Festival.
They do. That's where they met, Carolina Beach. They met. Their names. They were like, "Oh, you're like it's like the Mellencamp
like that song."
Yeah. And anyway, sparks flew. They got married today. They just got married. And so one of the things they're doing is they're looking at their old wills. They're saying, "Hey, we just got married. We need to do some estate planning, and we got some things we got to think about because I call this. I don't know. Y'all might call it something else. I call this a blended family, right? We've got 2 folks who are not having any young kids. They've already had their kids. Their kids are all adults. They're getting married, and they got to do some estate planning. And we have a lot of goals." In this situation, as an attorney, we've got folks who are, if they haven't retired, they're getting close to retirement age. They've got assets that they've worked their whole life for. We don't really have a lot of marital assets, and we've got adult children galore. Big happy family, Brady Bunch style.
They get along really well, and they have big dinners at Jack's house, and he cooks some mashed potatoes, and they listen to Baroque music.
All right, so what are we going to do for these folks?
I guess we got to actually talk about what we're going to do for
Joe,
them.
they come in.
I like theorizing about their personal life.
They come in. They're all tired from their beach music festival. They're telling you what happened. They're going through their assets. They've got substantial assets in their personal names. They don't have any trusts yet. Their old wills they've got really old wills. They're outdated. They name their ex-spouses as beneficiaries. So we got that working against us. But we need an estate plan, and we need it quick.
We need it stat. We're going to put these guys on the stat estate plan. The fast track. Yeah.
All right. So what are we going to do for these guys?
First things first, let's get rid of those old wills, brother. And generally speaking, how we would do that is in your new estate plan, you're going to explicitly state that you're revoking all prior wills and such things. Now, that's complicated.
That's a great idea.
That's a fantastic. It's one of the best I've had today. And it can be complicated a little bit by the fact, like if you've, it's not as simple as drafting a new will if you've got a trust that's in existence. If you've got a trust that's in existence, you're looking at more substantial reformation than that potentially. But I think what we're going to start with is giving them some rock solid legal advice. And step one, we got to get rid of those old ones because, like it or not, man, even though he's in love with Diane and they mouth kiss every day and they're just very in love and they love beach music, none of that matters to the courts.
That's right.
None of that matters to the courts. And when he dances too hard at next year's beach music festival and collapses, which is the way he wants to go.
Oh, okay.
So we were lightening it up this segment. Now Jack's dead.
Yeah, okay. Jack's dead, but he's dead in a hilarious way. Dancing too hard. It's actually not that funny. But none of that matters, and the courts don't care about that. And what they're going to do is they're going to look at those wills, and they're going to look at what you had previously, and they don't care that you've been divorced. They don't care that you're it's whatever was stated on that. They're not just going to reform it just because of these other circumstances. So step one, we got to take care of those old wills through the drafting of the new materials. And so my recommendation for them, we're going to have to sit down, we're going to have to meet, we're going to have to gather a lot of information.
What you want to avoid. So Jack and Diane here, they've got adult children, so they want to provide for one another, right? So if something happens to Jack, when I have these consults, I always kill the guy off first. He's slightly older in our fact pattern, so that makes more sense. But we kill Jack off, and we're like, well, what does Diane need to live, right? What do you want to get to Diane? What do you want to get to your children?
Because the difference, the opposite side of this is a not blended family where it's a little bit more straightforward, where you might just want to leave everything outright to your spouse, because then when they die, they have the same heirs as you, and everything would go to the kids. Whereas with a blended family, that's not going to happen the same way. If you leave it all to Diane and then she dies, everything is going to go to D, E, and F, and A, B, and C aren't going to get anything.
Yeah, what you don't want to do in this blended family situation is you don't want to do something that accidentally disinherits your heirs, your children, right? That's, you don't want, if Jack passes away and leaves everything to Diane, Diane gets remarried, lives her life, and then passes away, and all those assets leave Jack's estate, go to her, and ABC, Jack's kids, they're just accidentally disinherited, right? And that's what you want to be careful about. And so we talk to people about what their assets are. You can create a trust. There's all kinds of trust, man. We use trust for a lot of different things. Estate planning is an area where we see a lot of them. So you can have a trust that leaves certain assets to the kids, certain things to Diane. You can have non-probate assets, right? So you can have life insurance policies that will fund an inheritance for the kid when Jack passes away. But that's the big thing. The big thing is making sure anytime you get remarried, making sure that you're updating your estate planning docs. You're not leaving anything to an ex-spouse, or you have in-laws maybe in positions like executor, trustee, that kind of thing. And you want to make sure you don't accidentally not take care of your children, your adult children here. I mean, they're adults. They're all doing good.
And there's pitfalls all around this, right? So one of the potentially unforeseen pitfalls, you talked about accidentally disinheriting your kids, right? Well, you also got to consider the fact that in this scenario, Jack passes away, right? And with certain types of estate plans, assuming that, say everything he owns goes to Diane potentially. Diane in reality is a lady that he met at a concert, right? So how well does Jack really know Diane? And Diane could blow through every bit of his assets potentially if he didn't have an intelligent estate plan in place to preserve those assets for his kids potentially. So if you don't set it up to where, Jack's interest passes directly to those kids, you could look at a situation where there's nothing for his kids eventually. So it all comes back to intelligent drafting, understanding what you want to accomplish, and understanding the things you need to safeguard against and what you want to do.
I met with a young
couple today. There's a lot of latitude within that. Like, you can set that up in a lot of ways to provide for Diane while she's still living. Like,
and that's the benefit of the trust, right?
Yeah, very flexible.
That's the benefit of the trust, is because Jack doesn't want Diane to be destitute, right? So just like you said, you can, with a trust, you can appoint a trustee that's got a fiduciary duty to the beneficiaries, and he basically, that person, he or she or a corporate entity they're going to administer the trust and make distributions to Diane based on the parameters established in the trust, and keep her afloat, right, without expending and using up all that trust principal, so that, there is still something there for the kids potentially, depending on how the distribution is designed.
The Outlaw Lawyers, Josh Whitaker and Joe Hamer. Whitaker and Hamer Law Firm, where you can find them. They're the managing partners there, practicing attorneys here in North Carolina. Also joining us on the program from the Morehead City office, Cassandra Nicholas, also an attorney at Whitaker and Hamer. Offices conveniently located Raleigh, Garner, Clayton, Goldsboro, Fuquay, Farina, and Gastonia, and the aforementioned Morehead City. If you've got a situation you're facing, you've got a question, you need an answer, you can always call Whitaker and Hamer. The number is 800-659-1186. That's 800-659-1186. Leave your contact info, briefly what the call is about, and an attorney with Whitaker and Hamer will be in touch. And as we are doing today, we are taking listener questions and putting them out there for you. You can email your question to the show, and we'll use them on a future broadcast. Questions@theoutlawlawyer.com. We're back right after this.